One thing I'll say about being in Maction is you learn how to play on every surface, every day, every time, throughout the entire week, and you adapt the schedule accordingly, right, based on the team you have. So we've learned a lot based on that by playing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays throughout our tenure being head coaches. And I think that's it's one of the challenges you have. I think when the schedule came out, I looked at it and said, wow, okay, we got this game and this game, but we had something behind it or in front of it, which I thought was really advantageous for us in the way we're going to design our schedule. But I like to keep everybody on Central Time and keep it pretty standard. I don't like to get out somewhere 2-3 days early. I've never been that way. We take all the information and data from the National Football League when they travel internationally, when they're going so many time zones over. We have certain routines we use on the plane, what we do on the plane before we get on the plane, when we get off the plane. There's all these little 1% advantages you're trying to grab because you're doing a huge trip that a lot of people are going to set the narrative of talking about and create a distraction. It's going to be 2 times going out to the West Coast. We went out there last year to UCLA. We do everything we can to keep it on Central Time, which is a little unique. You guys are going to bed a little bit, going to bed a little late, on the West Coast, but our Central Time's our Central Time. We're going to bed a little early, I should say, on the West Coast. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Garrett Chernoff, his staff, do a really good job of putting all that together in the off season, and then we'll apply it once it's here. Yeah, I mean, it's not about necessarily just those teams in the Big Ten. It's what we've had to do over the course of the last 13 years, because we've all had to do it at some point. We've all had to do it within the bit, but now we're going to commit to it. And I don't know this, but like Travis Hunter, I mean, he got a ton of credit being a two-way player, right? And there's not a lot of people who can do that and do it successfully. We feel Coy can, and I'm not comparing him to Travis by any means, but I'm saying that is somebody who did it within the last decade. That's how hard it really is. And if you're going to do it, you've got to be both feet in on it. But if there's one person that can do it, it's Coy. Because, again, I said before to people, like, he doesn't have all these other interests distracting him away from football. His part of being eclectic is all ball, all the time, play, compete. So when you put a challenge out in front of him, he's going to get it. Like, he's going to knock it down easy. Like, that's the way his brain thinks. So we're going to go at his pace. Coach Harbaugh and him and Coach Simon have done a great job developing certain packages of what we want that to look like, whether that's in the Wildcat game. I mean, the kick and throw of football, don't forget, right? He's very athletic. But at the wide receiver side, it's not just, hey, stand there, turn around, catch a screen. This is going to be a little bit more dynamic than that, built within the system. When do we talk about academics? Getting there. Academics I talked about today. But think about education these kids are getting. I'm not sitting there saying every kid is going to get $20 million, and that's a really healthy thing. But when they do get money, and there is also life education behind it, not just tax class, not just financial class, but you know what? Sometimes when you got money, you got to learn what money means. And sometimes you got to touch the stove and have no money to appreciate money, right? When you had it, you lost it. And I'm not saying that we promote losing money in our program with kids, but I'm saying think of the education these kids are getting while they're doing almost real life in reverse. They're getting almost, most of them, the peak salary they could all be making at 19, 20, 21, and 22 years old. If they're not going to be a 10-year NFL vet, and they're not going to start out owning and being the CEO of Target, then they're probably going to have to work their way up. This is teaching them and educating them for life. They're just getting it faster than maybe you and I got it and the normal trajectory of what we think life is. Anything we think that life was doesn't necessarily mean you have to keep thinking of it like now, like walk-on. That's a completely different meaning than what you think walk-on was. Scholarship, completely different meaning of what scholarship used to be, right? Money in college athletes, completely different than maybe what it used to be. But the education behind it, whether that's taught by us through certain programs or the actual life lessons that everybody has to learn, is being sped up to when they're 19. I think it's good for them, as long as there's education behind it. So that's, I guess, how we're handling revenue sharing. That's another question for Mark Coyle and our administration of how they do that. But we're just really, really grateful to be in the Big Ten. I thank our lucky stars every day we are in the Big Ten, and that is a